Hello everyone. I hope you are having a great time these days, although the weather is a bit chilly outside. Today I want to introduce some words and expressions that might be quite helpful for you. I tend to spend more time indoors rather than outdoors because of the weather. Actually, I have been quite busy making CSAT English exam questions for students. While browsing through the past CSAT exam question, some word caught my attention. I thought it might be helpful for students to review these words. The word and expression I want to introduce today are proxy, accommodate, and to break the shell. First, let's talk about the word proxy. To be honest with you, I never liked the word proxy because I did not know what that means. And because the word itself has a rather abstract meaning, it took me a long time to understand the meaning. Proxy has many different meanings and different usages. According to the Oxford Learner's Dictionary, proxy has three different meanings. So let's take a look at them step by step. Firstly, proxy means the authority that you give to somebody to do something for you when you cannot do it yourself. So for example, let's say that you need to submit your science research paper by this Friday afternoon. Unfortunately, you cannot submit the writing yourself because you have a dentist appointment. In that case, you can ask your friend to submit the research paper for you, and your friend says he will do it for you, and you are submitting your research paper by proxy. And secondly, proxy means a person who has been given the authority to represent someone else. So proxy could also be a person who does things for you. Let's say your father loves playing soccer and he has a soccer match on this Saturday. Suddenly, your father needs to go on a business trip on this Saturday. And he asks you if you can play instead for him. And you say you will be playing the soccer for your father. In that case, you will be at the soccer match as a proxy for your father. Thirdly, proxy means it's something that you use to represent something else that you are trying to measure or calculate. This meaning is very common in academic text and CSAT reading passages. For example, intelligence is quite difficult to measure directly. Because of that, researchers often use test scores as a proxy for intelligence. In this case, the test score is not intelligence itself, but it represents intelligence. So the test score could be proxy for the intelligence. Another example would be in economics. Economists sometimes use income level as a proxy for quality of life. Quality of life is abstract and hard to measure, so income is used as a substitute indicator. In this case, income could be proxy for economics. So when you see the word proxy used in this way, remember, it refers to an indirect measurement, not the real thing itself. And also, maybe the most common usage of proxy appears in expressions like proxy war or proxy server. In a proxy war, a country does not fight directly in the war. Instead, another country or group fights on its behalf. In other words, the real conflict exists between major powers, but the actual fighting is carried out by others. So the war is happening by proxy. You can think of it this way. The real decision maker stays behind the scenes, while someone else does the fighting for them. Now let's move on to proxy server. A proxy server is not the main server that provides the original information. Instead, it acts as an intermediary between a user and the real server. When you send a request, the proxy server sends the request to the real server for you, so that delivers the response back to you. So the proxy server works on behalf of the user, just like a proxy does it in real life. It represents you rather than replacing the original server. That's why it's called a proxy server. It stands in between the act for someone else. So now Next word is accommodate. It also took me a long time to understand what accommodate means. And according to Oxford Learner's Dictionary, accommodate has 5 meanings. We'll take a look at each of these meanings step by step. So firstly, accommodate means to provide somebody with a room or place to sleep, live, or sit. For example, when we say a hotel can accommodate 200 guests, it means that the hotel is large enough to provide rooms and facility to 200 people. Or we can also say the aircraft is capable of accommodating 28 passengers. It means that the aircraft is big enough to provide rooms and sittings and sleeping spaces for 28 passengers. Secondly, accommodate means to provide enough space for somebody or something. The first meaning of accommodate emphasized that accommodate providing for sleeping room, living room, or sitting room. However, the second meaning of accommodate just refers to any space. For example, when we say the garage can accommodate 3 cars, it means that the garage just has a big enough space for parking 3 cars. So, or when we say the old town hall has now accommodates a folk museum, which means that the old town hall building is big enough to hold a folk museum inside. Thirdly, accommodate means to consider something such as somebody's opinion or fact and be influenced by when you are deciding what to do or explaining something. For example, when we say our proposal tries to accommodate the special needs of minority groups, it means that we are listening to minority groups' opinion carefully and try to reflect their opinion in our proposal. Or when we say she modified the view so as to accommodate the objection of island residents, it means that she is trying to listen carefully what island residents has about the objection and try to reflect island residents' opinion to her view. Fourthly, accommodate means to help somebody by doing what they want. In other words, you do something in order to help somebody. For example, when we say I have accommodated the press a great deal, giving numerous interviews, it means that I participated in many interviews in order to help the press, because the press was asking me many times to do the interviews for them. Or we can say I'm sure the bank will be able to accommodate you, which means that the bank will be able to help you with your request for the bank. Lastly, accommodate means to change your behavior so that you can deal with a new situation better. For example, we can say I needed to accommodate to the new schedule, which means that I need to change my behavior to keep up with my new schedule. My new schedule became quite busy nowadays, and you need to move more efficiently or quickly to keep up with your new busy schedule, and you accommodate the new environment. And finally, let's take a look at the expression to break the shell. This is a metaphorical expression. Shell is a kind of cover that wraps up your body. So when you say to break the shell, it means to overcome your psychological barrier, such as fear, shyness, or fixed thinking. When someone breaks the shell, they become more open, active, and confident. And in reading passages, this expression often symbolizes growth, transformation, or liberation. So when you see to break the shell, think that breaking limitation from the inside. So I hope that during this winter vacation, everybody break your own shell and become a new and better person. So today we looked at proxy, accommodate, and to break the shell. These words appear quite frequently in everywhere, and especially in abstract or philosophical text. So try not to memorize them as simple dictionary means. Instead, focus on core idea behind each word. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.